Hey guys, how you guys doing? I want to bring you some thoughts I had on season 3 ending of RTA and Summoner's War. Basically, 3 seasons have passed of RTA, and after the first season, we had a major change in there. They did the balance patch where you can violent proc only once per turn, and that's become a staple in RTA. Season 2 came along and finished, and there was no changes made between season 2 and season 3. There was some balance changes happening in between, I believe, but nothing major. And now we're going between season 3 and season 4, and this is changes I hope are made into the future. Hopefully, Comtours is listening to us, and this is a common theme I think that many people have problems with. The most important issues I see or at least the most powerful skills I see in this game right now is still additional turn. Violent procs are still a huge portion of what's happening in RTA. Outside of that, attack bar manipulations. I think those are the two biggest, most overpowered skills in the game going on right now. I can't. Okay, I was gonna show you my world arena. I can't do that right now. I was gonna actually show some old stuff that was going on in it. So when I say the first issue I'm going to tackle is additional turns. Like I said, after season 1 of RTA, Comtours put in where you are only limited to 1 violent proc per turn. The problem is there are units that get around that. Orion is probably the most common one I'm going to talk about there. Orion, well, not just Orion, all Brownie Magicians, all Occult Girls, Sierra Gianna, all the Unicorns, Chandra, Rakan, I guess, but I don't know if Rakan's an issue, but these are the type of units that I see causing these problems because they have skills that grant additional turns. So, right here, Orion skill 1, run. Again, when I say Orion, I mean all Brownie Magicians. 30% against another skill. Perfectly fine. I'm okay with the 30% chance of getting an additional turn. That's part of the skill set. What that skill set, when that additional turn should not do, is should not reduce cooldowns of other skills, I believe. So I'm okay with them getting the additional turn. It's just not reducing cooldowns, not resetting violent counter procs. Those are the unbalanced part. That's the hugely unbalanced part of the additional turn. And I kind of have a problem with, even though other skills of other like violent wounds are limited to 1 per turn, this run skill, in theory, can go 25 turns in a row. There's no cap on this being 1 per turn. It's not frequent, you know. We've all ran into Orion, Swift Orions that go run into Harmless Rank. That's a problem. So I propose that these additional turns also get limited to 1 per turn. Again, and that also not resetting the violent counter. So you just get an extra turn. You instead of getting an additional, you get an additional attack on the current turn. I think that's the way you can change that. What that implies with that would be, you don't get skill reductions on the other skills. So skill 2, skill 3 don't get the extra cooldown reduction. Buffs and debuffs do not go down either. So if for some reason someone like Orion had a 4-turn armor break on him anyway, he can't run just to keep knocking off that armor break. Same thing is if he had attack buff, his run, the additional turns will also have the attack buff. So it works both ways where it could be beneficial and non-beneficial. So you can't run away your immunity. So there is some positives to it. Overall, yeah, it's a nerf to these skills. I think it's the way the skills should be intended to be. It's just been lazy coding on Comtours' end, and before RTA, no one really cared. In PvE, no one's really caring. No one's really noticing if it's going on in there. And on Guild Wars, Guild Wars and other places, we just kind of associated with just it being dumb luck and stupid Orion, and it happens. I think that's a fair balance to it. I don't think it changes. It changes the power level of these units, but I think it puts them to where they were intended to be. I don't think these units were intended to go, realistically 6-7 turns in a row. A Diana should not go on 1 turn 6 turns, right? That shouldn't happen. And anyone who's done competitive RTA has seen that Wind Unicorn go insanely over and over again. The next set of units I'm going to talk about are the units that gain 100% attack bar from using their skills. It's a unit I personally have that it's a huge issue with, and that's Okeanos. This skill here has the ability to AoE stun. We all know that. Everyone it stuns gives 25% chance, 25% more attack bar. You get a full man stun, you get an extra turn. That, on top of just it being a really strong skill, is kind of broken. The other one that has, again, like I just said before, Diana. The reason it goes 6 turns in a row in a single turn is because, damn it. Oh, there it goes. This skill here. I'm sorry. With this where's the passive? So with the passive, it gains 25% attack bar each time it crits. This skill hits 4 times. 4 times, 4 crits, 25% chance, 100% attack bar gain. On a 2-turn cooldown, where you also get the additional turn to on a 3-turn cooldown, but you get that additional turn, and then you can change back into unicorn form. The problem I have with that is, I feel the unicorns have the tanky version where they're in unicorn form, and then they have the nuker version, or the damage dealing part, when they're in human form. Generally, the trade-off is when you're in human form, you're more vulnerable. So when you use your nuke, after you use your nuke, you should be suspect to being possibly one-shotted, nuked down, killed pretty significantly. The problem with that is Diana uses her skill, uses her nuke, gets a full attack bar, and then goes back into unicorn form where she's safe back in the tanky form. So that period of time of her being vulnerable is limited to pretty much Nemesis procking to cut in between, or really fine-tuning with like attack bars where you don't get to steal, where Diana doesn't steal the turn. But more often than not, that's the issue with it. The units that have gain 100% attack bar on a strong skill, I think, is kind of the issue. The other one that comes to mind that has that problem is Yang Hong. That's the Light Sky Dancer. I don't know how much I feel about changing this skill too much. It's an LD Nat 5. It deserves to be strong. Fills it up on itself. It's kind of like Fallen Blossoms, where you just, you're gaining the full attack bar. The only problem I can see with this is maybe this has to be on an extra 1-turn cooldown, or you can't use it on yourself. Or if you use it on yourself, you only gain 50% of the attack bar. Oh no, you're supposed to gain full. I guess I don't have too much of it. Basically, the only issue I have with this is it's on a 3-turn cooldown, but you gain a full attack bar. So it's kind of like only on a 2-turn cooldown. That's where I have some kind of issues with that. That's what I propose to it. Those 3 units. Diana, how I propose to change that. I would just switch the 2 passives, the percentages on the passive on Diana, where in human form, she only gains 15% per crit, and then to balance that out, in unicorn form, she can get 25% attack bar when her allies are hit. So what that, and that, I think that actually works out a little bit better. So what happens is, in unicorn form, if you use an AoE attack on there, Diana steals a turn to put out a shield. That's, I think, a good intended purpose of it. Versus right now, again, I'm just saying, if there's 4 units out there, an AoE attack comes out, you instantly steal the turn. You get 100% attack while you should be stealing that turn 99% of the time. And then in human form, when it crits, it gains 60% attack bar. 60% is a lot. It's still good. It's not 100% broken like it is at 100%. It's a strong skill. Compare it to something like the Oracle's skill 1. This here gives 3 attacks, 15% So 4 attacks getting 60% for a skill 2, I think is fair. Maybe even I'd be willing to go as high as 70% on there for 4 skills. I think anything higher than that is really at the broken. 70, maybe even 75. I think 70% is where I would push that limit, but 100% I think is just gaining a full extra turn where you can't cut in. I think that's a little bit too much. And the third part I have an issue with units are attack bar decreases. Most importantly, AoE attack bar reductions on top of super strong CC units. That's Hathor, that's Varad, that's Ganymede, that's Poseidon. I guess Poseidon's not so bad. So let's look at it. Hathor puts 2 turn sleep plus a full, not full, 75% attack bar reduction here. That's basically 3 turns when that all lands. On a 5 turn cooldown, you cycle through that really damn quickly, especially if you have a if you have a frigate or a Ganymede or anything like that. That's just the broken combo out there. That's 3 turns full reset, almost. I mean, 2.75, but you know, unless you're at full attack bar, that the last 75%, the last 25% almost doesn't matter. If it does, it's very negligible. Varad, 100% freeze, 100% freeze rate, and 100% attack bar reduction. Ganymede, AoE 100% attack bar reduction plus the single target reset. All 3 of those skills, I think, are just too strong. Not just the AoE attack bar reduction, but it's attached to a very strong skill, a very strong CC skill on top of it. I don't know. Hathor, I think Hathor of all those probably needs the least amount of change on it, because at least AoE sleep has some side effects to it. You can't attack everything, unlike stuns, unlike the stun units out there. So there is unless you're running succubuses, you can't hit the other units. So there is a little bit of downside to it. So I could see sleep being a little bit stronger. I still think the attack bar reduction on there at 75% is too much on a 2-turn sleep. If that got lowered to 30% attack bar reduction, I think that makes Hathor not stupidly broken and just fairly broken. Varad, 100%. Does it have to set the attack bar to 0? Can it just... Varad, especially because it has double freezing on there, I would like to see Varad's attack bar reduction lowered to like 75%. Varad's a problem. It's not a huge problem. I want to see a big change to it. Minor tweaks to it. Ganymede, yeah, that one's a problem. Full skill reset plus AoE reset. Single target reset plus the AoE attack bar reduction to 0. I don't know. I find a problem with that. The reason I see a problem with Ganymede is the rest of their skills look to be like single target focus. Ventilate is a single target for Jemiah's kind of skill on skill 2 versus skill 3, but fully skills up one, fully reduces the attack bar, the cooldowns on 1 unit. That's fine. This here, again, single target Zeros kind of thing, where it does a decent single target nuke, does really pretty good damage, reset skills to 0, but on top of that, does AoE attack bar reset. Why is that not just a single target attack bar reset? I think that puts Ganymede where he's still really strong, pretty much locks down a single unit. I think that's what I would like to see on that. It still makes Ganymede a strong unit. It doesn't make it stupidly broken where it just where when these units get their turns off, you almost instantly lose. When if Ganymede successfully gets his reset off on you, onto your Wusa, onto your Velajul, you lose the fight. I don't like things where you instantly lose a fight when 1 turn goes off. Hathor gets her 2-turn sleep off, you generally lose the fight at that point. That's where I would like to see minor change. The last change I would really like to see is, again, still focus on Ganymede. This is where See, ventilate will not be affected by other cooldown reduction or increasing skills. I understand the reasoning behind that. What I don't like about that is I don't like how you can't reduce the cooldown time on this. So what I'm saying is Zeros cannot reset it. Delphoid cannot reset it. All those other, Okeanos, Sekhmet, all those units, they can't reset their skill. I don't like that. I think the skill should be able to be reset just like every other skill. I understand you don't want it to be able to. You can't ventilate or use something like Mav or Frigate to increase the decrease the cooldown times on this. But I think someone like Zeros should be able to reset the skill. This goes the same for Jamire, Mav, all those skills that have. They all have that wording on there. I think the reason they put that wording in, they were just a cheap way of making sure that coding so that you can't basically ventilate yourself nonstop to always have, if you ventilate yourself, that ventilate would come back up off cooldown. So basically what would happen is skill 1 you do seal magic, skill 2 you ventilate yourself, and then after that ventilate would be reset because ventilate itself resetted itself. That's the kind of thing that they didn't want to happen, so that's why they coded it this way, I believe. The unintended consequences is Zeros can't reset it, and that's not cool. I think those changes for RTA is what, at least in terms of unit balances, I see as an issue. This doesn't go into the other kind of stupidly broken units that I think are out there, which is basically Molong is the other one where I feel Strip and Molong, Gianna. And Gianna's okay, because Gianna's LD Nat 5 and that broken skill, it's conditional. I think Molong, the main issue I have with Molong is Strip and Stun on the same skill, where you can Strip and Stun. I would be okay if it was Strip or Stun. I think that's fine for Molong. So basically, Molong should not be able to Strip and Stun the same unit with this Dragon Dance, or just lower the effect, activation rate on there. I think a fair route is just Strip or Stun, not AoE. You can run Molong. You can get Wusa with shield set, have 3 debuffs on there, and Molong will more often than not 3 or 4 man stun that team. Doesn't matter elemental advantage or not too. That's where those are the biggest changes I want to make. As for rewards and stuff like that for RTA, or at least again more people interested into doing RTA, I think if they just did simple changes, and I'm not breaking anything that hasn't been said before, if you just do the same thing in normal arena as they do in RTA, or they do in RTA as they do in normal arena, where if you lose your fights, you gain one glory point for them, or whatever these medals, 1 medal, whatever they're called. If you gain 1 for losing it, it gives people more incentive to do it, because even if you lose something, you gain some kind of things. Putting some more rewards into the shop would be a little bit better too, because yeah, World Arena shops scrolls are okay, but the amount of time you put into it, these things are all decorative. If they just put in something where Devilmon, Nat 4 Devilmon, something like that, gives people incentives to do it, because scrolls are there. You spend basically like 10 hours just to get 1 scroll. Maybe not that much. Maybe like 5 hours worth of time just to get 1 scroll, and that's like winning at like a 50% win rate. That's not really good. Shapeshifting Stone is fine. If they just put in other stuff like that where it gives people incentive to do it. Me, I don't know. Whatever they want to put into there. What they have, if they even added other stuff like more things to summon. Summoning stones, legendary pieces. These rune boxes. At least some kind of incentive where it gives someone an option to do it. That's kind of what I want. But these are changes I would like to see happen before Season 4. Knowing Contours, we probably won't get that in between. But I don't know. These are just things that's coming off the top of my head. You know, I personally, I'm a person who loves RTA. I've done just short of 1,900 matches this season. That's a crazy amount for what, 3 months. The other thing I want to see too is I think the seasons are too long. 3 month long season is a little bit too long. They should probably drop it down to a month, maybe 2 months. But I think 1 month seasons is kind of that sweet spot where it gives people incentive to do it. You know, if you make the rewards what they are monthly instead of 3 months, people may just want to do it more. 3 months is just a very long time for a season. I mean, it just gives people very little incentive time to want to do it early on, especially because it's like midweek arena farming. No one really cares. If you gave people, you know, just 1 month to do your season, people may actually care the whole season long. When you give 3 months, the first 2 months people don't care, and like maybe the last 2-3 weeks, people started coming out who wanted to do this to do it for the skins. Those are the ones that came out. If you want it to be more competitive, shorten the season. 3 months is too long for it. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what changes you want to make, what units you think are just crazy, and just let me know what you guys think. And if I'm crazy, let me know. If you just say you have these units and you don't want them nerfed and I should just suck it up that, you know, Ganymede is stupidly OP, that's a perfectly fine statement to have out there. If you're going to say you spent tens of thousands of dollars onto, you know, buying your units, ruining them up the way that you did, and you don't want to see a change, I'm perfectly willing to hear that opinion. I just want to know what the community thinks, and I just want to put my opinions out there. Let me know what you guys think. Please throw a comment below and just let me know. If not, have a good day and hope you enjoy.